You might think that Donald Trump has disappeared, that he's fading into the background. Well, as someone who covers bottom line news that you need to know from a neutral point of view, don't count Donald Trump out. He's making his way back. Hey everyone, meet Kevin here. How could this be? Biden is president. Trump doesn't have a Twitter. He's essentially been silenced, which many on the left say is deserved and many on the right say is a violation of free speech. Well, here's a look into Donald Trump's war to take America back in 2024. This is important to know if you're a Democrat and if you're a Republican. First, we know that Donald Trump was just acquitted. 57 votes to convict Donald Trump were not enough. 67 votes were needed to convict Donald Trump in his impeachment trial, and if he were impeached, then, or convicted in his impeachment trial, then Donald Trump would potentially be subject to being banned from ever running from office or for office again. And since Donald Trump was not convicted, Donald Trump can't be banned from running for office again. Now, he could be censured, but that is an unclear and untested path for actually banning somebody from being able to run again. One that a Republican-leaning Supreme Court probably wouldn't side with. In other words, Donald Trump is very likely going to be able to run again in 2024. But right now, the media attention regarding Donald Trump isn't going to be on 2024, or at least it shouldn't be. It's going to be on something else. And while people think that Donald Trump might fade into oblivion, which I've seen media report on, I think Donald Trump, and I think you know it as well, is up to something. Let's try to understand this. This morning, in the Wall Street Journal, Mitch McConnell published an opinion piece called "Acquittal Vindicated the Constitution, Not Donald Trump." And what Mitch McConnell says here actually becomes very important coming up, or at least it potentially leads to what came up. Here's what Mitch McConnell had to say. Mitch McConnell says, remember, Mitch McConnell is a Republican. He's the leader of Senate Republicans. January 6th was a shameful day. A mob bloodied law enforcement and besieged the first branch of government. American citizens tried to use terrorism to stop a democratic proceeding they disliked. There is no question former President Trump bears moral responsibility. His supporters stormed the Capitol because of the unhinged falsehoods he shouted into the world's largest microphone. His behavior during and after the chaos was also unconscientious, from attacking Vice President Mike Pence during the riot to praising the criminals after it ended. Mitch McConnell goes on to share his feelings and observations, but then ultimately says that the instant Donald Trump ceased to be president, that is, as soon as he wasn't president anymore, quote, he exited the Senate's jurisdiction. In other words, there was nothing the Senate could do to convict Donald Trump legally, in the opinion of Mitch McConnell, because Donald Trump was no longer president. So he can't be convicted because an impeachment has to do, or an impeachment trial has to do with convicting a sitting president. Because he's no longer sitting president, the Senate loses their jurisdiction, and that is why Mitch McConnell voted no. That is, to acquit Donald Trump. But Mitch McConnell also says, in response to the argument that, well, maybe you should have hurried up and held the trial earlier, that would have not given a fair due process or opportunity for due process, which is the ability for each side to actually prepare a case and speak their case in a fair trial, in a fair proceeding. If you would have rushed it, then that might have not been fair to Donald Trump. So this is what Mitch McConnell says. In other words, he has plastered across America the Wall Street Journal, which is a slightly conservative-leaning newspaper. Some say it leans heavily to the right. Others say it's pretty in the middle. Who knows? But the point is, this is what Mitch McConnell put into writing today. And this has led to a Donald Trump counterattack, which gives us a little bit of a look into what's to come. The easiest thing to do here, of course, is just to pull it up and take a look at it and then analyze it. Here's Donald Trump's letter. Statement by Donald J. Trump, the 45th President of the United States of America. Save America, President Donald J. Trump. Here we go. The Republican Party can never again be respected or strong with political, quote, leaders like Senator Mitch McConnell at its helm. McConnell's dedication to business as usual, status quo policies, together with his lack of political insight, wisdom, skill, and personality, has rapidly driven him from the majority leader to minority leader. And it will only get worse. The Democrats and Chuck Schumer play McConnell like a fiddle. They've never had it so good, and they want to keep it that way. We know our America First agenda is a winner, not McConnell's Beltway First agenda or Biden's America Last. In 2020, I received, this is obviously Donald Trump's letter, the most votes of any sitting president in history, almost 75 million. Every incumbent House Republican won for the first time in decades, and we flipped 15 seats, almost costing Nancy Pelosi her job. Republicans won majorities in at least 59 of 98 partisan legislative chambers, and the Democrats failed to flip a single legislative chamber from red to blue. And in, quote, Mitch's Senate, over the last 2 election cycles, I single-handedly saved at least 12 Senate seats, more than 8 in the 2020 cycle alone. And then came the Georgia disaster, where we should have won both the U.S. Senate seats, but McConnell matched the Democrats' offer of $2,000 stimulus checks with $600. How does that work? It became the Democrats' principal advertisement, and a big winner for them it was. McConnell then put himself, one of the most unpopular politicians in the United States, into the advertisements. Many Republicans in Georgia voted Democrat or just didn't vote because of their anguish at the inept governor, Brian Kemp, Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, and the Republican Party for not doing its job on election integrity during the 2020 presidential race. It was a complete election disaster in Georgia and certain other swing states. McConnell did nothing and will never do what needs to be done in order to secure a fair and just electoral system into the future. He doesn't have what it takes, never did, and never will. My only regret is that McConnell begged for my strong support and endorsement before the great people of Kentucky in the 2020 election, and I gave it to him. He went from 1 point down 20 points up and won. How quickly he forgets. Without my endorsement, McConnell would have never won. Basically, McConnell would have lost, and lost badly. Now his numbers are lower than ever before. He is destroying the Republican side of the Senate, and in doing so, seriously hurting our country. Likewise, McConnell has no credibility on China because his family's substantial Chinese business holdings, He does nothing on this tremendous economic and military threat. Mitch is a dour, sullen, and unsmiling political hack, and if Republican senators are going to stay with him, they will not win again. He will never do what needs to be done or what is right for our country. Where necessary and appropriate, I will bring back primary rivals who espouse making America great again and our policy of America First. We want brilliant, strong, thoughtful, and compassionate leadership. Prior to the pandemic, we produced the greatest economy and jobs numbers in history of our country, and likewise, our economic recovery after COVID was the best in the world. We cut taxes, regulations, rebuilt our military, took care of our vets, became energy independent, built the wall, and stopped the massive inflow of illegals into our country, and so much more. And now, illegals are pouring in, pipelines are being stopped, taxes will be going up, and we will no longer be energy independent. This is a big moment for our country, and we cannot let it pass by using third-rate leaders to dictate our future. So this is obviously a pretty powerful letter, but this is not designed to solely be a slam at Mitch McConnell for Mitch McConnell's letter, although it's very likely that Mitch McConnell's publication today spawned Donald Trump's response. But what I want to do is just for a moment highlight in red some things that are pretty powerful here. When Donald Trump, and there are things in this that are obviously disputed. There are Democrats who obviously dispute election numbers and claims of success that Donald Trump has, and Donald Trump and certain Republicans dispute the Democrats' claims that their claims are false. It's just a whole back and forth disaster. But there's a theme here that Donald Trump is preparing. Donald Trump is saying that you have to, as an individual American, pay attention to Donald Trump in order to have a strong leader, that is the opposite of somebody who gets played like a fiddle, right here, a strong political leader America should deserve a strong leader, someone who doesn't get played like a fiddle, Donald Trump is saying. America deserves somebody who wins. Donald Trump is frequently making a reference here to being not only a big winner, or winning lots of votes, or helping Mitch McConnell win, or helping other Republicans win. This is about strength and winning. And this is obviously what Donald Trump takes a lot of credit for, slamming Mitch McConnell wherever he can, especially because he's not wrong. Mitch McConnell did offer $600 stimulus checks or the $2,000 stimulus checks, along with multiple other requirements, which would have never happened with Democrats. So Mitch McConnell's offer never even came up for a vote on the floor. And he had the power to put a bill up on the floor and never decided to put a $2,000 stimulus check offer on the floor. So Donald Trump clearly attacks that. But Donald Trump also attacks Mitch McConnell for potentially being weak where Americans fear weakness. And that is weak economically, weak militarily, and weak on China. This, folks, is political crafting, not for presidency, but this is a message to people who are going to run for Republican Senate positions and House positions in, folks, 2022. Because, like he says right here, I will back primary rivals who espouse making America great again. Donald Trump is offering his funding, his support, his voice, wherever he can publish that, to support anyone who's interested in fighting for Donald Trump's mission for America. And this is evidenced exactly by a front page news article in the New York Times today, for example. And I know that many people do not like the New York Times, but it is obviously a little bit more of a left-leaning publication. But take a listen to what it says. This left-leaning publication has a title that says, Michigan GOP doubles down on support for Trump. And it discusses how Republican loyalists to Trump will end up getting rewarded by Trump, and those against Trump are sinners. I'll link that article down below. It really shows the divide that's happening in our country right now. And if this wasn't clear enough evidence of what's to come, let me make it a little bit more clear. On January 19th, a day before the inauguration, the Wall Street Journal, going back to this publication here, published an article that stated, President Trump has talked in recent days with associates about forming a new political party, according to people familiar with the matter, an effort to exert continued influence after he leaves the White House. Mr. Trump discussed the matter with several aides and other people close to him last week, the people said. The president said he would want to call the new party the Patriot Party, the people said. Mr. Trump has feuded in recent days with several Republican leaders, including Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who on Tuesday said that Trump deserved blame for provoking the deadly January 6th riot at the Capitol. Polls show Mr. Trump retains strong support among rank-and-file GOP voters. But it's not just strong support on January 19th, but Donald Trump is actually gaining more support today. In fact, polls that were held shortly after the riots did not really favor Donald Trump well. Donald Trump was actually in kind of the worst situation possible shortly after the riot. But as time went on, things changed. In fact, here's an email from Politico. I'm going to read this here. Politico sent an email out this morning that says, Republican voters got over any misgivings they had about Trump's role on January 6th very quickly. 59% of Republican voters said they want Trump to play a major part or major role in their party going forward. 59%. And then they go on to say, that's up 18 percentage points from a morning consult poll conducted on January 7th, the day after the riots. An increase of 9 percentage points from a follow-up poll on January 25th, before the impeachment trial began. In other words, as Donald Trump, as maybe some agencies in the media like to say, fizzles away, Donald Trump is actually becoming more liked and more powerful. And Donald Trump is beginning to use any opportunity he can to make sure that Americans realize Donald Trump is going to be supporting a massive movement in 2022. If you are a Democrat watching this, It's important to pay attention to this because it's always important to know what your political adversary plans on doing so that you could prepare to run against that. Anything that Biden does that is slightly wrong will be an opportunity to say, vote for Donald Trump's new party or the people that Donald Trump supports. We might not see a new party in 2022. In fact, we might never see a new party. But we could see people who align with Donald Trump's visions in 2022 get a lot of political support and backing from people who feel their voice was not heard in the 2020 presidential election. And Donald Trump could make a comeback. Now, if you are a Republican watching, this is going to be something that you have to make a decision on. Do I stand with this potential reformed Republican Party following Donald Trump, or do you stand with the existing Republican Guard? Which makes you wonder, is the existing Republican Guard Ted Cruz, or is he a Trumper? Is it Lindsey Graham? Well, he's probably a Trumper. Is it Mitt Romney? Well, he voted to convict Donald Trump, so maybe we put Romney on one side and Donald Trump on the other. But then where does Mitch McConnell stand? Because he would have convicted Trump if there were enough time. So does that mean Romney and McConnell are together against Trump? Are there 3 parties within the Republican Party now? It's a big mess. So if you're a Democrat, you take advantage of the fact that there's a Republican mess going on. If you're a Republican, you got to figure out which piece of the puzzle are you a part of. Hopefully you found this helpful, but folks, Donald Trump is not going away. I'm Meet Kevin. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this helpful, consider sharing this video and subscribing. And folks, we'll see you in the next one. By the way, if you want to get life insurance in as little as 5 minutes to help you get through the madness of the next few years, make sure to go to metkevin.com/life. You don't have to talk to anybody. You can literally take out your Apple iPhone or your Android phone or whatever phone you have and sign up for life insurance in as little as 5 minutes and get a cheap monthly rate. You don't have to talk to anyone. You don't have to get any tests in most cases. And it's super easy to do. metkevin.com/life.